Friday night at the MCG, it was Geelong and the reigning premiers Brisbane. Geelong through to another preliminary final. Let's take a look at Chris Scott's record. Now, Izzy, you've played under him. This is extraordinary.
It's insane.
What is it about Chris Scott?
It's insane. They just give themselves a chance every year, and it goes from the club. Chris Scott, he's a brilliant coach. They got some brilliant players, but the whole club's on board with what the club want to do as a whole. Then, and probably you don't talk about it as much, but their list management, the way they manage a salary cap compared to other teams in the competition, like, they're not paying anyone $2 million.
Picking Max Holmes at 19 in 2020 and Shannon Neal at 33. And every other club had an option of both of them.
Yeah, and Shannon Neal looks like a perfect replacement for Tom Hawkins as well, the way he's been playing this year, but they just keep fronting up.
But then when you're looking to trade blokes in, you just roll out that piece of paper and go, look, this is our previous few years in form. Like, it's an easy selling point to bring a player in.
It's a poignant point you make there, in that you said offhandedly, we're not paying blokes $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a lifestyle, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, and it's an understanding to know that if you want to be the best side in the competition and give yourself a chance every year, then you need to make other sacrifices, and they're so good at it. But the other thing they're really good at is pressure, and they brought that Friday night as well, and we'll see some vision here. Brad Close, he's underrated in this sense. He delivers pressure every week. Sean Manor was able to crack in there. We'll see one in a minute of young O'Sullivan, and here we go. He's in there putting pressure on Rayner. He could be the rising star. He won't get the vote. He didn't get the votes, but he could have easily been the rising star player of the competition.
It's been a great year, hasn't it, Izzy? Because he only played one game last year, got injured early and wasn't seen again. They had massive raps on him, put him back in cotton wool, got a pre-season into him, and is now playing key roles in qualifying finals.
And I think that's what's been missed this year, is he's played key roles all season, and he's taken out some of the best forwards in the competition. His ability to intercept, it's taken the pressure off the likes of Tom Stewart, Jack Henry, but their back six, we talked about Hawthorn's back six, their back six looks rock solid as well.
They had a really good burst in the second term, and it was everything Geelong are very good at. But what you don't see, I think Chris Scott, he challenges the opposition more than any other coach. So Jeremy Cameron started really well, didn't really touch it in this second part of the second quarter. They moved him up higher onto the wing, and then Dempsey started to push forward. They adjusted time and time again to allow Mullins to keep going to McCluggage, and they just challenged the opposition time and time again. And that is the art of coaching, and that is what Chris Scott is so good at. But the players then have to implement that, and they implement what he wants to do so well, and they are such a well-drilled team. Overall, out of any team, they are as well-drilled as anybody.
They play to their strengths, don't they? Yeah, and you've been coached by them. Everyone is there to play a role that's the strength of theirs. And, I mean, Ollie Dempsey, he should have been all-Australian wingman. The type of footy he played on a wing, we saw it firsthand the other night, was just incredible. The other one who played to his strength is O'Shane Mullen, who did an unbelievable role on McCluggage, who kept to one touch, I think, in the first quarter, and maybe one kick to half-time. And he even hit the scoreboard too, which is what you want from
first goal.
Yeah, first goal. And the boys got around him too. And that's what you want from guys that are doing those run-with roles. You want them to get forward and make sure they get dangerous as well, and keep the best midfielders in the comp accountable.
It's interesting with their midfield, because you look at it and they don't necessarily have a Bailey Smith and Max Holmes in there together at times. They'll have a Mullen, they'll have an Atkins. They've actually got defensive players in there, so it's not necessarily about winning it right there and then, but then they get to work after.
And this is speaking about their strengths. And Holmes will sit off the back of the stoppage, and so will Smith. And then they'll use those guys in transition where they're unbelievable at.
And Brisbane Lions now has to regroup against their South East Queensland rival for that semi-final without this man, Lockie. Now, you can see him grabbing that groin region of his body. That was the reason he'd missed the last 3 home and away matches and then had the post-finals bye. They were hopeful that that body of his, that very, very seasoned body of his, was going to get through this game and maybe 3 more games. But it won't, because on the back of having that problem, which was pre-existing, he then did this one, that being a right calf injury. So the existing problem being the groin, which they were really worried about, even worried to the point where even kicking a football, they were fearful of it actually erupting that groin region. He managed to get through that part of it, but then did the calf as well. So he's now out for the year on the same period of time that Eric Hipwood, who was missing football, TJ, with a calf injury. They had re-diagnosed him with now a partial tear of his ACL, and that is a timeline that is very problematic for being seen again this particular year. Already missing Coleman, Answorth, McCarthy and Payne. It's an injury list now which is really problematic.
I blame you, TJ, for Eric Hipwood.
Oh, yeah.
You chomped him.
I think I went the double chomp on him. We saw a double free too, didn't we? This was disgraceful. This was absolutely disgraceful.
So this is where the ball was, in the hands of Tyson Stengel. You can see the scoreboard, 27 points clear to put them 33 up at that particular point in time. My maths might be slightly out there. But anyway, it's gone down the other end of the ground where this happened with O'Connor on Rayner. And the umpire decided to play a free kick. And the ball went straight down to that position on the ground. Rayner kicks this goal. Upon kicking it, Zach Guthrie comes in to remonstrate, and another free kick is paid. Now, to sign off on this, the AFL yesterday said that the first free kick, the one that ultimately started this chain of mess and disgrace, as you've dubbed the TG, should not have been paid, but that second one, the Guthrie contact on Rayner, was a valid free kick. It was a mess, and it could have been potentially game-shaping. Do
you think people would be more comfortable with it if the free kick was given where Tyson Stengel was?
I would have.
If Brisbane get the ball there, obviously it's not a free kick and it should have been paid in the first place, but to have a goal given to you right in front when the ball's up the other end doesn't seem right.
Was it staging?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And should there be a penalty for that?
Yeah, there absolutely should be a penalty for that. If we
start
penalising players for that, then I guarantee players won't flop. Stop the flop for sure.
There's scope for it too, B. Players have been fined this year for staging. I personally, on that moment, didn't see it as worthy of a fine, but I can get what you were saying.
Do you think Rayner should be fined for staging?
No, I don't. Not on that at the moment, no.
I'm sure the AFL cracked down on that some years ago, and a penalty actually came with it in terms of a week. But
there's scope for it to be a week.
Yeah.
This year they've fined players in the home and away season for it.
You don't think that was staged? That was a flop?
Not worthy of a fine stage. I'm not saying it's not a stage, but not worthy of a fine. That's just my take on it.
Half a flop.
Half a flop.
All right, OK. Now, happy Father's Day.
Snort?
Did you just snort?
Who's snorting?
Thanks for lighting the mood up.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. Caught my I heard without me here last week that you were quite savage on Damo. You thought, I'm going to take all my energy out on Damo, and you never go after Lloydie. I think you've scared of Lordo. You never say anything negative to Lordo.
Lloydie sets us up and puts stuff in our head, and we go and deliver it all.
No, but I don't. But I respect Lordo. And therein lies the difference. All right, so, I mean, I'll be going home to rub Vicks in his chest a little later on, and because he's on the sick list. So don't sully his name while he's not here.